This is Cape Town, and it's one of my favorite places in the entire world. I honestly didn't think that I would like this place that much when I first came here, but I soon realized that I couldn't get enough of it. So here are my top 10 places to see in Cape Town. Number 10, Kaap. Kaap is a small neighborhood in the heart of the city, and it's most famous for its very colorful houses, which were very popular on Instagram feeds a few years ago. Which, by the way, if you like my content, feel free to follow me on Instagram at @lauravorstein. But going back to Kaap, it's much more than just colorful houses and great photo opportunities. Its history is actually quite fascinating. So Kaap was originally built to house slaves that came from Malaysia, Indonesia, and other parts of the African continent, and it later became the first place in Cape Town where freed slaves could live. When people were forced to come here, they brought with them their cultures, their traditions, and their religion, which was predominantly Islam. So Kaap became the first place in South Africa where a mosque was ever inaugurated, and since then many have been built across the neighborhood. Many South African Muslim leaders are also buried here. During apartheid, the neighborhood was one of the bastions against the regime, and the communities living here prevented this area from being claimed by apartheid supporters. That's actually where people think the colors come from. So there's no consensus on this, but the whole neighborhood was originally painted white, and people believe that the communities living here painted them in very colorful ways to disrupt the government's plans and prevent this area from being claimed. So as you can see, Kaap has a fascinating cultural and historical heritage, and it is absolutely worth coming here. You can also learn more about it at the Kaap Museum. Number 9, Robben Island. Until the mid-1990s, Robben Island used to be a prison, and specifically it housed political prisoners, including Nelson Mandela, who would later become South Africa's first black president, and he was a very prominent leader against apartheid. The island is approximately 12 kilometers away from Cape Town, and there are frequent tours that go there. The tour guides are former prisoners of the island themselves. Number 8, Stellenbosch. South Africa is known for having delicious wines. Now, I'm not much of a wine person, but if you are, you might want to go to Stellenbosch. And if you don't like wine and you're like me, you might just want to go for the views alone. I would also encourage you to visit the town's sister museums and botanical gardens. An alternative to Stellenbosch, if you think it's too far away, is Constantia Valley, which is much closer to the city. Number 7, Clifton First Beach and Camps Bay. These are two of Cape Town's best and most popular beaches, and for good reason. The sand is incredibly white and the water is this wonderful turquoise color. You can also find some of Cape Town's priciest real estate near Clifton First Beach, so keep an eye out for that if that's something you like. And Camps Bay has incredible views of Lion's Head and the 12 Apostles Mountains. Number 6, Hout Bay and Chapman's Peak Drive. A road trip around Hout Bay and Chapman's Peak is one of the most scenic in South Africa, so if that's what you like, definitely head here. They're also great places for a sundowner, but only if you don't mind the crowds. Landula Beach is also relatively close by. This is also one of Cape Town's best beaches, but it's one that's more favored with locals than it is with tourists. Number 5, the penguins at Simonstown. When you think about penguins, you normally think of them living in super cold, icy places. So what the hell are they doing in Cape Town? So the water surrounding Cape Town may not be icy, but it is ice cold, and this is because of currents that come all the way from Antarctica. These currents allow the adequately named African penguin to live in the shores of South Africa and Namibia. You can find a penguin colony at Boulders Beach in Simonstown, just outside of Cape Town, and this is a super touristic activity, in part, again, because it was super Instagram famous a while ago, but honestly, it's one that I really recommend. Number 4, the Kirstenbosch Botanical Gardens. So these botanical gardens are very impressive because here you can find more than 20,000 native species of South African plants. So something that you might not know about South Africa is that it has an entire floral kingdom within its borders, and it's the only country in the world that has this. So its biodiversity in plants, particularly when it comes to plants that have flowers, is absolutely incredible. You can see many of them in the Kirstenbosch Botanical Gardens, as well as incredible views of the 12 Apostles. I suggest that you keep an eye out for the proteas, which are not only beautiful and incredibly rare, but they're also South Africa's national flower. Number 3, museums. So Cape Town's nature is incredible, but so is its culture and its history, and the best place to see it is at some of its museums. So I've already mentioned 2 in this video, the Kaap Museum and the Robben Island Museum, but there's a few more that I wanted to mention. The District 6 Museum, the Heart of Cape Town Museum, and the Sites Museum of Contemporary Art are 3 that I highly recommend. Number 2, Table Mountain. So Table Mountain is a must for anyone who visits Cape Town. Whether you take the cable car or you hike all the way up the mountain, this is a place that you just have to go to. Table Mountain honestly gave me some of my favorite travel memories ever, and I honestly don't know how to describe it, but it's a place that really reached me, and I think it really reaches a lot of people. so I hope that you get to enjoy it just as much as I did. And number 1, Cape Point National Park. So Cape Point National Park is located right at the end of the Cape Peninsula, and it engulfs the Cape of Good Hope, and it's an incredible place. A lot of people think that the Cape of Good Hope is the most southern point in the African continent, but that's actually not true. It's the most southwestern point in the continent, but the most southern point is Cape Agulhas, which is further east. A lot of people also think that in the Cape of Good Hope, the Atlantic and Indian Oceans come together, and again, that also happens at Agulhas. But the two currents coming from both oceans do meet at the Cape of Good Hope, which makes it extremely dangerous to navigate. The Portuguese originally named it the Cape of Storms, but then later they changed its name to the Cape of Good Hope. But since then, because of how dangerous it is to just sail through it, it has also gained other names such as the Graveyard of Ships. Cape Point is really one of those places that will make you feel like a tiny human being. It's just one of those places that humbles you with its magnitude and its extraordinary beauty. It's just so surreal to know that you have reached the edge of a continent, and there's a feeling of timelessness and infinity to this place that I don't really have the words to describe. Cape Town is a truly incredible place to be, and there are some places that I had to leave out of this list, such as Muizenberg Beach or Hermanus, but the ones that I told you about, those are my top 10 and the ones that I truly enjoyed. If you like this video, remember to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications below, and let me know in the comments which of these 10 places you would like to see the most. Until then, see you in my next video.